ช่วงเชื่อbây giờ thì pháp đàm có thể bắt đầu ạ. So this morning, John and Sarah started speaking a little bit about the fourth factor for stream entry, and the fourth one is Dhamma Nudhamma Patipada. So it would be helpful if Ajahn can say a little bit more about the meaning of this, because one monk who also teaches the Abhidhamma in Vietnam said that he would like your understanding about this term. Thank you.
Nobody can change the truth. I need to translate. No. Okay. Nobody can change the truth at all. That's why when there is the truth, there can be the understanding of the truth from the very beginning to realize the truth as it is right now. That's why there should be moments of developed understanding deeper and more subtle too. Dhamma, no doubt. What is this? Dhamma nu, Dhamma patipatti. No one, is that right? Dhamma nu Dhamma patipatti. No one. Only Dhamma. No matter what Buddha said, it always represents reality. Any moment, any level of understanding from the beginning to the end. So now no doubt about Dhamma. And thus now Dhamma develop as it has heard. Dhamma, nu Dhamma, patipatti. It's not other thing at all. Just understand what is heard as it is. Beginning to understand what's Dhamma, not anyone. The understanding develops. Dhamma, nu Dhamma, patipatti. On and on and on. Firmer and firmer. So less and less attached to that as something. Because in truth, what is now appearing, remember what is seen, only that which is seen. How can we put someone in that which is seen, different color and so on, as this or that? In truth, the ultimate truth, what can be seen only can be seen. The sound cannot be seen. Any other thing cannot be seen. And this is moment of understanding. It is the beginning of Dhamma, nu Dhamma, patipatti. Not I who develop the understanding, and understanding is the developer of understand what is there. Not think about other things, not think in our own way, but the way Dhamma is, the way is so true. The way that only right understanding can understand the truth of it, little by little. So now, no I, patipatti, no only Dhamma, no matter what it is right now. Buddha taught about each reality as it is. The reality which now sees, experiences an object. And the reality which is seen cannot see. Each moment all depends on the reality which is the chief of experiencing whatever appears. And without understanding, no Dhamma develop the understanding of what is there. Before hearing or without hearing, how can anyone know that there's no I, but there is seeing? In truth. That's why the patipatti is panya and other wholesome qualities which are different jetasikas arising together. That's why learn to understand. When we talk about sati, we don't talk about panya. We don't talk about manasikara. Each is different by conditions. So what is now saying is not yet understood. but listen more, understanding more. It's not that which is seen, but there is also the reality which experiences seeing. And what are there together? Feeling is there. Memory is there. See? And other citasikas learn to understand what appears. For example now, when the feeling is so very indifferent, no one understands that it's there now. Seeing sees, and the feeling which arises at moment of seeing is indifferent, upekha, not pleasant nor unpleasant. That's why we learn to understand. So panya, dhamma, nudhamma, patipatti begin to develop on and on and on, different levels. From the first level, the first round of the Ariya Satya, Pariyati, no doubt about what is heard is so true. That which is seen cannot be that which sees it. See? And the seeing cannot be anyone. It's conditioned to arise to see, just to see, and then gone. Understanding is Dhamma, Patipatti, to understand the truth, not other thing. Just now, the truth of seeing is the reality which is conditioned to arise to what? Just to see and then gone. And right understanding begins to Patipatti. Dhamma, nudhamma, patipatti. Is that right? Or who patipatti? That's why I learn a little more about what is there in different moments. Attachment is not seeing. It's conditioned without seeing the very pleasant object to be attached to. How can it arise to be at that level of attachment? But it's so very, very subtle, even right now. What is that feeling? What is that now feels? When there is the understanding, Dhamma Patipatti, to realize that that is not I. It cannot be anyone. It is only that reality different from others. It cannot arise without conditions. So now it's conditioned already to arise. Just learn a little more in order to let go the clinging to that with ignorance, conditioned attachment. Instantly, who knows now, there is attachment to seeing. What about the feeling? See, another reality is citta and citasikas, the reality which experiences the object, but not as the chief. The chief of experiencing is only one reality. It cannot like, it cannot dislike. It is conditioned to be the chief of experiences. What is there? See, different. The citta experience clearly what the object is. Is this and this the same? Looks alike, but it is seen just one moment at a time. At moment of this is seen, it's not this which is seen. So this is not that. Different moments. So now life goes on by conditions, uncounted, unknown reality, until Buddha thought about what is there, beginning to consider, to understand the subtle reality, because even it's there now, its truth is not known. Until it's known as it's not I, it's not anyone, it's not cats, it's not dogs, but it's seeing. Seeing is seeing. Without a shape and form to be known, whether it's a monkey see or a deva see. See, the idea of monkey, the idea of ant, the idea of fish sees, begin to let go. The idea of what as something or someone see, it's just the seeing. So have firm confidence of the truth. Is it true? Nothing to be done. And when it's true and true and true, it's the confidence of no one and nothing. Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti. So without understanding, there will never be Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti. It's I try to do. No understanding of the word of Dhamma anatta. So just have confidence of what is there appearing, not just try to experience that which is not there. So can anyone understand that which hasn't arisen yet? Impossible. So how much understanding of that which now appears? The truth is the truth. So listen more to condition the understanding of what is there, even it does not appear at that very moment, but one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe this evening, it appears without any understanding, or with the understanding has been learned about the truth of what is there. It's wrong enough to understand the truth of it unexpectedly. When there will be that moment, only when it's ready, it's enough to understand what is there now at different levels. What level is now? What level of understanding is now? Understanding the words about this moment. Until Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti, no one. What about when it's strong understanding? Is it Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti? So the point of listening is to understand the truth, the ultimate truth of this moment. What appears, different object. But at moment of seeing, what appears is only what is seen, and we use the term visual object or visible object or color. It doesn't matter, no name, but the truth is there appearing.
And unexpectedly means no special time, no special place. If we think we need to change our daily life, if we think we need to be in a quiet place or sitting in a particular posture or not answering the telephone or not doing the usual household chores, this is not Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti. If we think that we have to change the environment in order for understanding to arise, it's still the idea of I doing something, I following a practice in order to have understanding. But instead of leading to more understanding, it leads to more I practicing and leads away from Dhamma no Dhamma patipatti, because the understanding has to develop very naturally from hearing and considering wisely, especially the considering, not at any particular time. Whenever there are conditions, there will be more and more considering, more and more understanding naturally, no matter whether one is in the temple or at home, with family, alone, eating, shopping, looking at the Dharma books. They're still seeing, they're still hearing, they're still thinking. Understanding can pop in and understand what is real, what life is at the present moment, any time. So more understanding means more confidence in the truth at the present moment, no matter where and when. Otherwise, it's I limiting it. It's I that thinks, oh, I have to wait until later. I have to wait till I'm not busy. I have to wait until I'm in the temple. This is not the understanding of the truth now. Can you hear? So we all lead different lifestyles. Some live in the pagoda, some have busy lives at home, some are at work, some are with family, some on their own. But the truth, the realities the Buddha taught are exactly the same. So understanding can develop no matter the circumstances. So there has to be this firm understanding. Otherwise, when it's limited by the idea of I, it leads away from Dhammanudhamma Patipatti.
I think the aspect of the fourth factor that people wonder about the most is the word patipada at the end, Dhammanudhamma Patipada. So the first part, Dhammanudhamma, is clear enough, something about Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. Patipada usually translated as practice. So practice of the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. So what does practice mean in this context? For most people, they will immediately think of a practice such as a meditation practice or some kind of ritual practice such as, lighting incense or prostrations or chanting or something like that. It doesn't matter. They're all a kind of practice. But what I will comment on is meditation practice because that's the one that's most commonly understood. Now the word practice in English, and I suppose elsewhere too, in other languages I'm sure, has a number of different meanings. It can mean practice in the sense of train oneself to achieve something, like practicing to play a musical instrument or to become skillful in playing a sport or something like that. But it also has the meaning of applying skills that have been acquired already, as in medical practice, the practice of medicine, legal practice, something like that. So it also has the meaning of the application of skills that have already been acquired. Now, the other thing is we need to look at the context here. This is the fourth of four factors, and each one leads to the next. So there's the association with the good friend. There's hearing the true Dhamma. There's reflecting on what has been heard. And then the fourth one. When there is reflecting on what has been heard, and that, of course, refers to reflection that is with kusala citta. There may be a lot of reflection that's not kusala citta, but it specifically refers to wholesome moments of reflection after having heard the true Dhamma. So what is the natural consequence of those three factors? The natural consequence, the next thing to happen, the progression from the third to the fourth, is the actual moments of awareness and understanding. Because that is sufficient. Those three factors, according to the Buddha, are sufficient to condition the fourth factor. It doesn't fit the context to then say that for the fourth factor that one starts a practice of some kind in the sense of a meditation practice or some other kind of practice. Those three factors are sufficient by themselves by themselves to condition the natural arising of moments of understanding, awareness and understanding. Now, for most people, they've never considered that possibility because for most people, practice has always involved starting from a normal mind state and going through some kind of exercise that is meant to bring wholesome mental states. But as we know, wholesome mental states are conditioned, and it doesn't make sense to say that they can be made to occur by deliberate wishing for or encouraging their arising. What helps kusala of all kinds is appreciating the benefit of kusala, knowing the different kinds of kusala, being aware of it when it arises naturally in daily life. And that is how kusala of different kinds is developed. And really understanding as the highest kind of kusala is no different in that respect, except that it depends on having heard the teaching of the Buddha, whereas other forms of kusala can be developed by a person who hasn't heard the Buddha's teaching. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Ajahn and Jun and Sarah. That's a question from the audience. Mời chị Nhàn ạ. Ai chuyển mic cho chị Nhàn mặc áo đỏ ngồi góc này ạ?
Con thưa Ajahn, con mới là người mới, con chưa có cái hiểu nhiều. Con muốn Ajahn giảng cho con thêm về giới tà dâm. Ví dụ con tham đắm với một bông hoa thì có phải là con tà dâm với bông hoa đó hay không ạ? Con xin tri ân Ajahn.
Dear Ajahn, I am a beginner, so I don't have much understanding. And I would like to understand more about the third precept, which is restrain from sexual misconduct, because I heard someone said that if I like the flowers, is the misconduct with the flower.
If you like a flower, it's just common, ordinary, everyday attachment. It doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't harm anyone. It's not a kusala karma that can bring results. It's just very ordinary attachment to what's seen, to what's heard, nothing to do with sexual misconduct.
Dạ, con xin cảm ơn cô ạ.
Thank you.
And even if you like a person, that's not sexual misconduct either.
Con Con xin cảm ơn chú.
Thank you. Dạ. Cô Xanh có muốn đặt câu hỏi đúng không ạ? Dạ, ai chuyển mic cho cô Xanh ngồi ở gần camera đấy ạ. Có rồi ạ.
Dạ, con xin kính chào bà Ajahn, ông bà John Sara, chào cô Tâm. Con xin chào các quý thầy, các quý cô và cả nhà Pháp Đàm ạ. Dạ, mấy hôm vừa qua con được nghe từ xuất hiện và từ sinh khởi, và con đã được nhiều người chia sẻ cho con, nhưng cái hiểu của con vẫn còn rất là mờ. Và hôm nay là con xin Ajahn và ông bà John và Sarah xin giảng giải cho con để con hiểu được rõ hơn ạ. Và trước khi thì con xin được trình bày cái hiểu của con ạ. Dạ, con hiểu cái từ xuất hiện là khi, ví dụ như là khi âm thanh xuất hiện thì hiểu, thì ngay lúc ấy là có cái hiểu là có âm thanh. Và khi âm thanh xuất hiện ạ, thì là có cái hiểu là có âm thanh ạ. Và khi có cái nghe được biết thì là gọi là sinh khởi. Cái nghe biết là biết cái âm thanh của nó, chứ không có cái gì khác. Đây là ý hiểu của con chứ không phải là ngôn từ. Và cái đấy gọi là sinh khởi. Và còn khi mà âm đấy là ý thứ nhất. Và ý thứ hai là cái từ hiểu tư duy và hiểu trực tiếp ạ. Và con hiểu như thế này ạ. Hiểu tư duy, ví dụ như là âm thanh xuất hiện thì có cái nghe sinh khởi. Và ngay cái lúc đấy thì là con lại chưa biết được là cái âm thanh nó sinh khởi với cái gì. Và cái nghe cũng vậy ạ. Và sau khi con được nghe các bạn chia sẻ thì con hiểu là ngay cái lúc đấy là chưa có hiểu được. Và về sau rồi phải suy xét lại thì mới hiểu được là cái âm thanh nó xuất hiện với đúng, với cái hiểu của nó là chỉ có cái âm thanh xuất hiện chứ không có cái gì ạ. Và cái nghe thì khi nghe thì nghe âm thanh xuất hiện thì cũng hiểu là sau khi suy xét lại mới hiểu là cái nghe là nó nghe âm thanh, là nó kinh nghiệm cái đối tượng là cái âm thanh ạ. Và còn cái trực tiếp là ví dụ như là khi âm thanh xuất hiện và không hiểu được cái âm thanh nó xuất hiện ngay lúc này, và cái nghe cũng không sinh khởi ngay lúc này, thì cái như vậy gọi là hiểu. Khi mà có cái nghe xuất hiện, có âm thanh xuất hiện và có cái hiểu sinh khởi ngay một khoảng khắc đấy thì gọi là trực tiếp ạ. Có phải không ạ? Con xin Ajahn, ông bà John và bà Sarah xin giải cho con để cho con được rõ hơn ạ. Con cảm ơn ạ.
Khó quá con không dịch được ạ. I said I couldn't get anything of what she said. I cannot translate.
Dạ con xin nói lại ạ, được không ạ?
Chắc lại vì hôm trước cũng đã có một phần giảng về cái từ đó rồi. Chắc là mình nghe lại xong trong Pháp Đàm Việt Nam mình sẽ giải thích thêm vậy. Tại vì như thế này bản thân con cũng không hiểu để dịch thì nó sẽ hơi mất thời gian cho hội chúng, mà chiều nay đã là chiều cuối cùng. Thì chắc là mình sẽ dành thời gian cho nhau trong các buổi Pháp Đàm trong Việt Nam, trong nhóm Việt Nam nó sẽ dễ hơn ạ. Dạ. Vâng, vì là buổi này là buổi cuối cùng nên là các đạo hữu có câu hỏi thì cần phải nhanh tay giơ tay ạ.
Thưa Achan, bà Chú Chôn và cô Sara, cho sư hỏi thì cảnh thinh thì có phải là âm thanh không, và âm thanh thì có phải là tất cả cảnh thinh hay không, hay là âm thanh chỉ là một phần của cảnh thinh?
So he said that when talking about Sadaramana, what is the word? Yeah, Sadaramana, is it the same than sound, or sound is solely part of the Sadaramana?
It's the sound. It's the aramana, the object of hearing consciousness now. So what is heard now is just sound. This is the world at this moment, the sound which arises and falls away. Sadaramana, the aramana of hearing consciousness. Not a voice, not a speech, not a joke, just the sound, and then gone. And the hearing now, the chitta which hears, arises from nowhere and experiences the sound and is gone. Two different dhammas. The sound is one dhamma, the hearing which hears it is another dhamma. So even now there can be understanding of sound, just that which is heard at the moment of hearing. Nothing else in the world. That is the world, the aramana that is heard. As Ajahn said, it doesn't matter what it's called, but it's just that which is heard now. Nothing else at all.
Dạ, vậy cho sư hỏi tại sao cái tâm hướng ngũ môn á, nó hướng đến cảnh thinh mà lúc đó nó chưa có âm thanh?
He said that so the Pancha Drava Vachana, because it experienced the Sadaramana, but at that moment there's no sound yet. So why is that?
Actually, the sound has already impinged on the ear sense. The sound has already arisen. It's already arisen before the adverting consciousness adverts to the sound. If the sound hadn't arisen, there couldn't be any experiencing of it. The sound has to have arisen first, and then the first citta, the first viti citta, adverts to that sound, but it doesn't hear it. It experiences it, but it doesn't hear it. And it conditions the following citta, the hearing consciousness, to experience exactly the same sound. And the difference is that the hearing consciousness hears it, and it falls away, and the other cittas in the process experience the same sound, performing their particular functions. So they all experience the sound, but only the hearing consciousness hears it.
Vậy thì tại sao mà khi mà cái tâm ý thức nó vừa nghe xong rồi nó diệt và âm thanh nó cũng diệt, thì nó lại còn tới 14 sắc la nữa? Rồi cũng kinh nghiệm như vậy thì lúc đó âm thanh ở đâu ạ?
Âm thanh đã diệt đi đâu ạ?
Dạ.
Chưa diệt ạ.
Bởi vì nó chỉ có một sắc la nghe thôi mà.
Một sát na nghe, nhưng mà điều ấy
như vậy thì rõ ràng là lúc đó là cảnh thinh chưa diệt chứ không phải là âm thanh chưa diệt.
Và không có nói là
như vậy thì âm thanh nó là một phần của cảnh thinh thôi chứ không phải là tất cả cảnh thinh đâu ạ.
I don't know why he got the idea that that after, because there's only one moment appearing, so that means that the sound has already fallen away, but because the Sadaramana is still the object of the other chittas of the same process, so that's why he thinks that the sound is just one part of the Sadaramana.
So the rupa lasts for as long as 17 chittas. So 3 bhavanga chittas before the adverting consciousness arise after the Sadaramana has already impinged on the ear sense. 3 bhavanga chittas, and then the adverting consciousness, and then the hearing consciousness, 2 more vipaka chittas, 1 kiriya chitta, 7 kusala akusala chittas, 2 tadaramana chittas if the sound still hasn't fallen away. It's the same sound, exactly the same sound experienced by all those chittas, and then the rupa falls away, no more chittas can experience it. But exactly the same rupa, just one aramana that is experienced by each of those different chittas.
And we are talking about a rupa, the rupa that is called sound. And it's just a mere rupa that is not necessarily what we think of as an audible sound.
John, would you like to take the occasion to ask further question on the bridge of taking the idea of taking precepts and receiving precepts? Would you like to take the opportunity now?
Yes. Going back to a question that you raised the other day about the bhikkhuni giving precepts to the lay followers. And you correctly pointed out that the order of bhikkhunis ceased to exist some time ago. And so it cannot be revived, actually, until the time of the next Buddha. However, in the meantime, in some countries, there is an order of bhikkhunis has been re-established. And you talked about such bhikkhuni giving the precepts to the lay followers. And you said that this will result in broken sila. I think that's what you said, so I'm just would be interested to know what you mean by broken sila. And also a follow-up question, what is the difference between the giving of precepts by a monk, for example, to lay followers, and the giving of precepts by a bhikkhuni or another lay person to lay followers? Thank you.
Thưa Achan và chú Chôn và cô Sara, thì do là chư tăng thì ở Việt Nam và trên các cộng đồng quốc tế thì có nói rằng là một người Phật tử thì chỉ có quy y Tam Bảo. Nếu mà chúng ta quy y đã theo Tam Bảo rồi mà mình quy y đi theo một cái truyền thống khác thì nó đứt cái tam quy, và bây giờ thì không có cái tỳ khu ni nữa, thì những cái vị tỳ khu này, những cái vị tỳ khu ni này là tự mình tự mình tu và trở thành một vị tỳ khu ni trong cái thời buổi này thì nó không có hợp với không có hợp đúng cái luật của tỳ khu ni. Do vậy mà những cái người Phật tử, những cái vị Phật tử đến đảnh lễ những cái vị tỳ khu ni đó và cho đó là những cái vị tỳ khu ni, thì sư nghĩ rằng đây nó là chính vì cái chỗ đó mà mới nói rằng cái vị đó, cái người cư sĩ đó thì không có thành tựu cái tam quy á, chứ không phải là đã không thành tựu tam quy thì ví dụ như là vị đó lương nhờ vào cái đó thì nó cũng không phải là đến đúng cái tam bảo á. Thì sư có cái ý như vậy đó chị Tam Bạch. Yeah.
Tức là sư chỉnh lại là không phải là đứt giới mà là không thành tựu tam quy thôi chị ạ.
Thì không thành tựu tam quy thì cũng đâu phải là, nếu mà vị đó cho giới thì nó cũng đâu có đúng đâu ạ. Yeah.
He said that, okay, I will just summarize what he said. He said that it is a very common held idea that if a lay follower take the refuge in someone who is not part of the order which has been properly maintained, then that taking precepts is considered invalid.
Và các vị đó thì thọ nhận cái của cúng dường như vậy nó có hợp với pháp và luật không? Yeah.
Is the reality of giving and taking precepts in terms of the kind of consciousness involved, and what is the effect?
Những việc truyền giới thì mình các cái theo cái truyền thống thì cư sĩ đến chùa thì hàng tháng hay là họ đến thì trước khi họ cúng dường thì họ xin tam quy và ngũ giới đó. Thì các sư mới đọc để cho quý vị nhớ về các cái vị đó xin tam quy và ngũ giới. Còn đúng như mà trong cái luật thì chúng ta dạy cái người cư sĩ hoặc là chỉ cho người cư sĩ là thế nào là cái giới và những cái chi phần của giới. Còn về phần mà xã hội mà chúng ta tu tập trong cái đời sống thì cái người cư sĩ đó đến chùa thì thường là họ xin tam quy và ngũ giới để cho củng cố lại cái niềm tin mà mỗi khi họ phạm giới. Thì đó là
Dạ, những gì sư nói thì là vẫn đang là mô tả những gì mà mọi người gọi là thọ tam quy và ngũ giới, nhưng mà ông John thì đang hỏi là cái bản chất, cái thực tại của cái gọi là thọ giới hay là truyền giới thì nó là gì ạ?
Thì thọ giới là truyền giới thì xin thưa là những cái người đó đến chùa thì vị đó xin tam quy và ngũ giới để vị đó gìn giữ giới hạnh. Gìn giữ cái giới hạnh.
Về mặt thực tại ạ, về mặt thực tại nó là gì ạ?
Về mặt thực tại thì hôm bữa đã nói rồi. Về mặt thực tại thì giới nó chỉ là những cái thực tại của pháp thôi, những để ngăn ngừa ví dụ như là giới thiện, giới bất thiện.
Bởi vì khi mà nói đến xin giới hay là cho giới thì về mặt thực tại thì nó là thực tại nào ạ?
Về mặt xin giới và thọ giới thì chẳng qua là vị sư đó nhắc nhở lại thôi. Nhắc nhở lại là cần phải giữ gìn 5 giới như là không sát sanh, không trộm cắp, không tà dâm, không nói dối, không uống rượu. Còn về mặt thực tại thì ngăn ngừa các cái điều bất thiện.
Là thực tại là ngăn ngừa, ý là thực tại là tâm sở tiết chế hay là gì ạ? He said that is the virati cetasikas, but he spoke at length about the situation. What does the monks do and what do the lay people do when we have the so-called taking precepts or giving precepts? But then I said that you asked about the realities. Then he said it's the virati cetasika.
Well, I think there is virati cetasika when there is an opportunity to break a precept, but one refrains from doing so. Would you agree with that? But this doesn't apply, this is not the situation involved in giving and taking precepts. The giving and taking of precepts is more like resolution to obey the precepts, to follow the precepts if a situation of possible breach occurs. So actually, in terms of jittas, nothing, of course, is actually given from the, say, the bhikkhu to the lay followers. And nothing is received by the lay followers. They are just resolving to do their best to follow the precepts. And that means if and when an occasion should arise of possible breach, and that is when the viriti cetasika may arise. So there's really no particular significance in the act of giving and taking precepts. And whether it's kusala citta or not depends very much on the individual. In terms of the person giving the precepts, I can't really see how that is, what kind of kusala that would be. Unless you want to think of it as encouraging the other person to resolve to follow the precepts. But it's, I think as we discussed last time, there's no case of monks giving precepts in the suttas, and it's more a practice that has grown up and that is followed. And I understand that it's considered by a lot of people, the lay followers, to be quite significant. But I'm going to suggest the reality is just like if they, a person on their own recalls the precepts and as a reminder, but without being given them by someone else, because nothing's given and nothing's received in truth.
As a layperson, if we resolve or have the intention not to kill, for example, no matter whether we say this in front of a bhikkhu or in front of a sister or a nun or another lay person, it may be with kusala cittas, it may not. And when time comes, when a mosquito lands on the arm, who knows whether there will be any harming to the mosquito or not. So it's just an intention, perhaps a kusala intention, perhaps with clinging, then it's an akusala intention. But as Jonathan said, it could be at home, it could be we don't have to announce to the others, it could be any time. And lay people can follow as many precepts, as many undertakings as they like. And as Ajahn said before, they don't have to announce it to anyone. So it's just an intention and undertaking, no matter when it's taken or what in what situation. So I also don't see how anyone can give the precepts, because it's an intention and undertaking not to harm. This is what these precepts are involved with, the harming of others. Smelling the flower doesn't harm the other, but killing the mosquito or taking what is not given, sexual misconduct harms the other.
Có ai chuyển mic cho anh? Anh có rồi, dạ mời anh.
Còn chút nữa chị. Vậy thì những cái tỳ khu ly như vậy thì họ nhận cúng dường trong thời buổi này thì nó có phạm vào những cái điều giới hay không thưa chị?
So when the so-called bhikkhunis today in the re-established order, when they receive the gift from lay followers, does it amount to any transgression of the Vinaya?
If they are so-called bhikkhunis and not properly ordained, then they are not subject to the Vinaya.
Kính bạch Ajahn, kính bạch ông John, bà John. Trước tiên con xin được có lời tri ân đến bà Ajahn cùng ông bà John đã cho con, cùng ban tổ chức đã cho con có mặt được trực tiếp trong buổi pháp đàm ngày hôm nay. Câu hỏi của con đó là con xin được mong muốn Ajahn có thể chia sẻ cái kinh nghiệm để làm sao để có cái trí tuệ nó được phát triển sớm, nhanh nhất. Bởi vì là cách đây hơn 20 năm thì khi mà học về vật lý và sinh học thì con cũng được hiểu giải thích là con người ta là sinh diệt trong từng khoảnh khắc. Và trong gần vài năm gần đây thì con tiếp cận được đến giáo pháp thì con cũng biết là thì con mới hiểu rõ hơn là vạn vật đều vô thường, đều sinh diệt trong từng sát na. Và nếu như cứ nghe và chúng ta chỉ hiểu thế thì chúng ta chỉ là tưởng tượng thôi. Ví dụ hôm qua thì con nhìn thấy anh Tuấn, hôm nay vẫn là anh Tuấn, chẳng có sự thay đổi gì cả. Nhưng thực tế thì anh đã thay đổi trong từng khoảnh khắc ạ. Đó là ý thứ nhất của con, là con muốn về Ajahn có thể chia sẻ cái phương pháp nào nó được tiến bộ hơn, cho chúng con được tiến bộ nhanh hơn. Thứ hai là cũng theo cái ý đó là trong cái cuộc sống bộn bề hiện nay ấy, thì để có xạ tị là rất là khó, chứ chưa nói đến samba xạ tị. Thì có thể chọn một cái phương pháp là xả ly bằng cách là chúng ta vào rừng, xả ly, rời bỏ gia đình và đến có thể là xuất gia gieo duyên, thì điều đó có thể là giúp cho cái ba la mật được tăng trưởng hơn không ạ? Đó là hai ý của con ạ.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone to give me the opportunity to be here. About 20 years ago, I studied physics and biology. And with my studies, I also learned that the cells actually exist in a very short time and arise and pass away right away. And in this discussion, I also learned that realities arise and pass away very quickly. However, when I look at one person, my friend, for example, he yesterday and he today seem to be the same, although it must not be the same person anymore. So that's why if we just listen like this, then it doesn't seem to bring about any real understanding, change in understanding at all. So I would like to hear Ajahn sharing about your experience and any method to develop the panya more quickly. Thank you. That is the first question. Cái câu thứ hai là về...
Thứ hai là có thể trong cái bộn bề của cuộc sống này thì có thể xả ly một cách là chọn vào rừng.
Thế chắc là để cứ hết câu này xong rồi hỏi câu hai sau. Dạ. I will tell about the second question later. Or should I tell it now?
I'll make a short comment on the first question, and that is that the kind of change that you are talking about, that is change, the gradual aging of the human body, not really noticeable on a day-to-day basis, but only noticeable over a long period of time. is not the kind of is not what the Buddha was talking about when he said that all conditioned dhammas are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And one doesn't need the Buddha's teaching to appreciate that everything changes over time, given a long enough period. But the Buddha's teaching is specifically about conditioned dhammas, that is, the realities that underlie what we take for the human body. We know that there is consciousness and mental factors, and the consciousness that we take for a given individual is a stream of moments of consciousness. And what we take for the body is different kinds of rupas, materiality that arise from different conditions. But we've talked a lot here about, for example, a moment ago we were talking about sound. Sound is a rupa. It cannot experience anything, but it is experienced by hearing consciousness. And that sound arises and falls away. And other materiality, such as hardness, arises and falls away also. Solidity. And that is the kind of, those are the realities about which the Buddha spoke when he talked about the characteristics of impermanence. Aging, he also spoke about birth, aging, sickness, and death. But those words are conventional terms to describe life in this existence. But he also said that, in short, the 5 khandhas of grasping. So the 5 khandhas of grasping are the conditioned realities that we've been speaking about. So it's understanding what is appearing at the present moment that is to be developed, not observing how things age in the conventional world.
And I'd just like to ask, is the sound heard now the same as the sound heard a moment ago?
No.
Is the visible object seen now the same as the visible object seen a moment ago?
Dạ thưa cũng không ạ, nhưng mà là đấy là tưởng tượng thôi ạ, đấy là mình.
No, but we don't actually experience it.
But still, what is seen now, is different each moment, what is seen. And so only by understanding what is appearing now can it be known. It's different at each moment, each experience. The thinking now is not the same as the thinking a moment ago. What is thought about now is not the same as what is thought about at a moment ago. But the sanya marks the object at each moment and conditions the thinking of shape, form, patterns, flowers, people. And there is this memory of this one and this one. And so tomorrow it seems the same one. But actually, in truth, each visible object is different at each moment. Each hardness touched is different at each moment. There is no whole, no body, no person. It's the trick of sanya, conditioning the thinking. like you said from your science studies, there are just different cells, we would say different elements arising and falling away, but because of memory, they're taken for a whole, and this is why there is ataditi. And as for method, any idea of method is an idea of I doing something to speed up. This is why people go to practice meditation. This is why they sit quietly in a room and think about metta. It's I trying to find a method to speed up the development of kusala, the development of understanding. But actually, what is taken for a method or a quick process is the opposite, because it's just following the idea of I doing something instead of understanding that the seeing now is conditioned anatta. What is seen is anatta. Every element is anatta. No I to follow a method or do anything, but understanding can develop right now from hearing, considering, but it's not I following a method. And perhaps Ajahn would like to add more as you addressed.
What's the point of listening now? For an hour. And will be more.
Dạ thưa Ajahn, là ngay bây giờ, ngay trong phút này con nghe thì là có âm thanh thôi ạ.
Là mục đích nghe pháp là để làm gì ạ? Mục đích bây giờ rồi anh nghe.
Để con hiểu và tích lũy dần dần về cái kiến thức đó, về cái pháp.
The point of listening to the Dhamma is to understand and accumulate the knowledge.
So what is Dhamma again and again and again?
Trong tất cả những cái gì con thấy đều là pháp.
Everything I can see here is Dhamma.
So when will it condition moment of understanding this moment of Dhamma?
Xin giải thích cái câu này một chút, tức là bởi vì vẫn chưa có cái hiểu thực sự thế nào là pháp. Và vì thế nên là khi nào thì nó mới có thể làm duyên cho cái hiểu trực tiếp về pháp được ạ?
So what is there now? Dhamma. But what Dhamma is there now? Is there Dhamma now?
Hiện giờ, như con hiểu là hiện giờ có pháp, là đấy con vẫn tưởng ra là đấy là có pháp thôi.
When we say that there's Dhamma now, I think it's still the imagination.
What is imagination?
Mọi sự thay đổi con không nhìn được ạ.
I cannot see any change at all.
Imagination is seen or heard or what?
Đang hỏi về tưởng mà anh. Tưởng là gì ạ?
Dạ thưa Ajahn, là vừa rồi con nghe lời của Ajahn. Thì khi nghe thì con nghe thôi. Có âm thanh thôi ạ.
Nhưng mà đó là câu trả lời là tưởng. Ajahn đang hỏi là tưởng là gì ạ?
Nhưng con đã đang tưởng tượng là nó đã đang được sinh diệt thôi ạ.
Tức là so he just says that because I just imagine that everything arises and falls away now, it's not really something I experience.
Is it not true? Hearing a moment ago, 'Where is it now?'
nó diệt rồi ạ.
Is it true that it's not now, it's gone? And what is there now? If there's no understanding of the truth, it's imagination. So imagination is taking what is experienced as something. Imagine about its shape and form as something. But in truth, life exists only in a moment. The moment of seeing is not the moment of hearing. The moment of thinking is not the moment of seeing. The moment of imagining is not the moment of seeing. So we learn to understand that each moment is not permanent at all. And no one can make anything arise at all. It already arisen, so it appears now. If there's no conditions for whatever appearing now, can it appear? For example, seeing, it's not imagination, right? Seeing now, it's not imagination. But the truth is that it is real when there are conditions for seeing to arise. Seeing arise without its proper conditions. For example, the ear cannot condition seeing to arise, and the eye cannot condition hearing to arise. And what is there in life, any moment? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. Yesterday and the day before yesterday and today and tomorrow. As long as one is not dead yet, there must be seeing by conditions, uncontrollable. What is seen at all? It's beyond expectation because it has arisen already now. Learn to understand the truth about what is real is conditioned to arise, so it's there real. If it does not arise, can anyone know that seeing is real? For the blind, for example, can they know the moment that what appears to the others but does not appear to the blind? Is that right? So what is meant by blind person? What about the reality which is taken for I when there's no understanding right now? I am seeing, for sure, at moment of seeing. I'm hearing at moment of hearing, not at the moment. So the Buddha taught about the truth of each moment. For example, right now, this very moment, what is there? And it's gone. Is it true? Just a moment ago, gone, never to return, never to rise again. Is this life? Just born and die. And before death, born to see right now, and then born to hear right now, and born to think right now, and everything gone, never to return at all, from life to life, from moment to moment until death. A new life begins after death by conditions. Who will not born again after death?
Theo con hiểu là niết bàn ạ.
Ai sẽ không còn tái sinh nữa sau khi chết ạ?
Duy nhất là con được biết là các vị đã chứng đắc A-la-hán và Đức Phật ạ.
The Arhata and the Buddha.
Why?
Thì chẳng có gì cả nữa.
Because there's nothing.
no conditions for anything to arise anymore. The end of conditioned realities, because the condition for whatever arises has been eradicated. Absolutely, ultimately. So now who can stop seeing to arise from moment to moment? Right? By conditions. Does anyone would like to stop seeing, not to have seeing arise again? Because it arises and falls away. So no use for seeing to arise to see. So does anyone like to have no seeing anymore? No one? No someone?
No one, I think no one. Everyone wants to see.
Doesn't see the danger of whatever is now arises and falls away. That's why there's ignorance, attachment, taking what is seen as something all the time, because not understanding the very short, tiny moment of seeing. Does a very small ant see? Does it have the eye like the human being's eye? Big enough to be known. White or brown or black or green. But in truth, that which conditions seeing is so very tiny. And in truth, just one reality can appear, right, to one moment of experiencing. So imagine just one tiny, how tiny it is, dot, appear at moment of seeing. Is that right? The ant's eye, very tiny, but it conditions seeing. So seeing is not big or small. Seeing is the reality which arises to see. It means that there is a reality which arises to see, to hear, to smell, to experience anything which appears as the object which is seen, heard. For example, sound right now. It's heard. No one can stop it. No one can make it to arise, to be known, to be heard. But it's there already. This is the beginning to understand what we're talking about. It's there already by conditions. That's why, what is the truth of this moment? What is now? Because now is seeing, the now is hearing, the now is smelling. No one there at all. Is it right? No one, only seeing, conditioned to see. Hearing, conditioned to hear. Smelling is conditioned to smell, that's all. On and on and on, from birth to death. Every day, every moment. Never be the same. So, is there anyone, or just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, liking, disliking, whatever in daily life is there, by conditions? Begin to understand what is meant by no one and no thing, because it's gone. From nothing, it's something, and then nothing. No seeing, and then seeing right now, and then seeing is gone. Is that true? Begin to understand the teachings of the Enlightenment. He just teaches about the truth of any moment, every moment. There's no need to look for it, or to go somewhere to find it, or to do something to experience it. It's there already, unknowingly. As long as no one not hearing the teachings of the Buddha, how can there be the moment of beginning to understand? Life is only moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, liking, disliking, attachment, aversion. Whatever is there real is real. So each reality is real. It has its own characteristic by conditions. Sometimes there is only very slight irritation, but sometimes it's bigger, greater than that. Strong anger by conditions. Just live and experience whatever is there and die.
Sa thú. Dạ.
Vâng, câu hỏi thứ
Con
hai.
xin hỏi câu hỏi thứ hai
Nhớ
con
rồi, mình
hiểu
nhớ
cho
rồi.
con điều chỉnh lại một chút thôi ạ.
Rồi ạ.
Là mình có thể điều chỉnh, mình có thể thay đổi cái duyên là đến xuất gia gieo duyên, xuất gia, thì cái đó có tăng trưởng ba la mật không ạ?
Certain activities like temporary ordaining as a bhikkhu, for example, can it help to increase the paramis?
And what is parami? We have to understand clearly what is that we are talking about. For example, Kun Jonathan, please give me precept. Can he give me precept? Oh, what is precept? That's why we just not think carelessly. Just take the word. But what is the ultimate truth of it? What is sila? And how many degrees of sila? Kusala sila, akusala sila, apayakata sila, adi sila, adi samadhi, adi panya. Each different word represent each different realities. Intellect understanding does not experience the object clear as it is, heard and learned, and have confidence. But the more confidence of the more understanding, the way to experience it. Because if there's no way at all, what's the use of talking about it? In vain, no use. It's there, but who experiences it? No one. Only right understanding develops so very gradually right now. It's the path at moment of understanding the truth of Dhamma and Anatta. What is there is real, is experienced by the reality which experiences, that's all. If there is no reality which experiences anything, how can there be what is seen now? See, that's why learn to be truthful to the truth. No one. So at moment of getting angry, it's a reality, uncontrollable. It's by conditions. And what is the moment of forgiving? No one. Different from moment of never forgive until die or death. Someone think like that.
Dạ, thưa Achan, nếu con nói tụng là Panatipata Veramani Sikkaparang Samadhiyami thì con cũng hiểu đấy là mới chỉ là giới tụng thôi, chứ không có đối tượng nào để mà con sát sinh ở đây cả. Thì hiểu như vậy được không ạ?
So when I say Panatipada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami, only means that I recite the phrase, but it doesn't mean there's any being to be killed now.
And as long as there are very strong anger, can there be killing? Not anyone, but that's very strong anger. Conditions such deeds and speech. So learning to understand different realities as it is, one by one. For example, what are there in the world, in life? What are there? See, otherwise we don't know what we are talking about. We are talking about the truth, the ultimate truth of what we take for life. What is it? Life is this moment. So what is life now? Or no life?
Là cái thấy bây giờ, cái nghe bây giờ. Cái người nghe bây
Seeing
giờ.
now, hearing now.
What is it? No one doubt about I'm seeing, but what is seeing? It sees, and it sees. But what is it? Not I anymore, when we learn about the truth of seeing. But when the truth of seeing does not appear to be known clearer and clearer and clearer, nothing can let go the idea of I see. We are here now and we say, seeing is a reality. Seeing is not me, seeing is no one. And then at this moment, who sees or what sees? See, it hasn't been completely or absolutely eradicated yet. So eradication of whatever is there, it means that no more arising of that reality. For Sotapanna, no more arising of wrong understanding of what is there, no matter when and what, any time. And what is Sotapanna? The great wisdom which can realize, enlighten to that which is now as common, as usual, as it is now. Nobody can change whatever is there now, appearing. It has a reason. But to ignorance, to attachment, or to right understanding, different. Learn to understand the very differences between ignorance and understanding, attachment and aversion. Not I, not anyone. Why? It's gone, never to arise again, no matter what. And ignorance and attachment cannot understand the truth, even right now. But understanding is opposite. And there are other realities too, learned one by one, little by little, about not only seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, what is there in a moment of seeing, and what are there in other moment, like thinking is not seeing. Understanding is not misunderstanding. The different realities, no one. And this is the only way to let go the idea of something, the idea of self, the world of atta from birth, gradually change to be the world of anatta, little by little. Does it take quite a long time to be the world of anatta, not atta anymore? Little by little, gradually, at moment of considering carefully, more careful, sharper and sharper, understand it any time, not just only when at moment of hearing. So now, looking at something, it's still something. Because no understanding of the truth of that which is seen, which is not that which sees. And what appears? At moment of seeing, what appears? Now, there is seeing what appears. nothing or something.
Thì con chỉ thấy theo kinh nghiệm là cái bông hoa, cái màu đỏ đó là kinh nghiệm, đấy là màu đỏ thôi ạ.
I just see the flowers, and because I know by experience that it's a red color or orange color, so that's the way I see.
And what's the word of Buddha? One word. Dhamma. How much understanding of the truth of Dhamma. Whatever is real is a Dhamma. If it's not seen, can there be a rose? Just see one dot of color. Can that be a rose? So many moments of experiencing very rapidly condition the shape and form of something made known as a rose. By sanya, marks and remembers the different colors, different from head to toe, dot, 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 dot. So very quickly, that's why without the enlightenment of the Buddha, the enlightened one, from eons and eons, uncountable eons of support, kusala, to get rid of ignorance with anger and on, before his enlightenment can be achieved.
Con tri ân Ajahn ạ.
I just saw a friend arriving. Well done, Jay.
Thank you.
And what I was just going to ask you briefly is the seeing here or in the pagoda any different? Is the visible object that is seen any different here or in the pagoda? Is hearing any different here or in the pagoda?
Dạ thưa bà là không khác ạ. Thấy tại hiện tại nó hiện tại đây đang thấy ạ.
No, it's not different.
So in other words, the understanding of dhammas has to develop no matter where, no matter in the Buddha's time or here in the forest or in the marketplace. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing. The same dhammas are to be understood. So if we think another place, another set of circumstances will make it easier, it's not the understanding of Dhamma now.
Sa thú, sa thú, sa thú. Con cảm ơn bà.
Any finished? Yeah.
I have just one quick question for the young girl who has been patiently listening all day. Yes.
Có ai chuyển mic cho bé không ạ? Bé ngồi đằng kia.
Because this morning we talked about helping children if they have any interest. Have you heard anything today that's interesting at all? Just now we were talking about seeing and hearing. Is there hearing now?
Yes.
Yes. And what does the hearing hear now?
I think what you said and the thing I know, like
So can we say that when hearing, actually there are just different sounds heard different moments of hearing different sounds. And then there's thinking about the sound, thinking out about the meaning, thinking about whether it was interesting or what does it mean. So the hearing just hears the sound and then thinking about it again and again until we have an idea of what the meaning of the words are. Is that correct?
I think yes.
Yes. And what hears now?
I think Sota.
A very good guess, but actually it has to be the sota vijnana. It has to be the hearing itself that hears, not the ear. But if there is no ear, then there cannot be hearing. So the hearing hears the sound because the sound has contacted the ear. So the hearing hears, not I hear, not my mother hears, but hearing hears. And how long does it hear for?
Until it stops.
Until it stops. Very good answer. And is the hearing now the same as the hearing a moment ago? Or is it different hearing now?
It is different.
Different, very good. And is the sound heard now the same sound as a moment ago or a different sound?
No, it's different.
Different ones, yes. So is it a little bit more interesting when you talk and consider than when you just have to sit in silence all day? A little bit more interesting when one asks questions and answers questions and thinks about it. Is that correct? Yeah. So I think this is how you engage students or family. You can start to ask questions so that anyone can consider more. Thank you very much. We've been glad that you could join us today.
Thank you.
And I think we're out of time now.
Vâng, chắc chắn là trong hội chúng còn rất nhiều những câu hỏi và rất là nhiều thắc mắc cần phải được giải đáp. Tuy nhiên thì thời lượng của pháp đàm cũng đã kết thúc và hôm nay cũng là buổi cuối cùng của đợt pháp đàm lần này. Thì trước khi kết thúc, con cũng có muốn thông báo đến với cả hội chúng là tất cả những cái nội dung pháp đàm vẫn có thể được tiếp tục theo dõi nếu như các quý vị tham dự các buổi pháp đàm của Vietnam Dhamma Home vào chiều Chủ nhật thì sẽ có sự có mặt của Achan, ông John và bà Sarah. Các buổi chiều Chủ nhật sẽ có trên Zoom cũng như là trên YouTube, trên Facebook của Việt